Kololo Independence Grounds.
Penalty defaulters to clear their payments before Monday.
Police operation to recover 8 billion shillings from motorists who have not paid fines from the Express Penalty Scheme tickets starts next week. Also, U.S. Congressman Chris Coons, who masterminded dialogue between Uhuru and Odinga in 2017, is back in Kenya to hold talks with Uhuru, Odinga, and President-elect William Ruto.
Vardy flicks it on! Jesus caught!
And in sports, several matches lined up as Premier League returns, with the most exciting fixture between Manchester United and Liverpool taking place on Monday. Hello, good evening and welcome to CTV PM Edition. Today is Friday, the 19th of August, 2022. My name is Agi Oase with Isaac Luchamzi on sign language. Kickstarting off tonight's edition, members of parliament who subscribe to the ruling National Resistance Movement have spent the day at Kololo Independence Grounds to attend a meeting that was convened by the party chairman, President Museveni. The members of parliament were transported in minibuses from parliament to Kololo. We have more.
The agenda of the meeting is not clear. However, MPs say they wish the economic situation in the country should be given top priority.
Prices are high. Fuel is up, soap is up, sugar, rice, everything. So I'm very sure even the president feels things are not moving well. So that's why we're being called. I'm
expecting the president to handle the issue of the national economy, because poverty is itching everywhere. Businesses are not progressing very well. Even when you get into the families, they are crying of poverty. The children are dropping out of school, meaning that there's no business going on. And so I expect the president to address that issue and how the inflation is going to be controlled.
The MPs say they expected the president and his team to explain what is being done to stop the shrinking value of the Ugandan shilling compared to the dollar, which affects foreign exchange.
All the ministers come on the floor of parliament and are all complaining that there is no money in the treasury for undertaking development projects. When development projects are not undertaken, it means that there is no business that is going on, because money comes from government. Contractors do business with government entities. Suppliers do money with government entities. So when government entities are saying that they didn't get money for development, it means that there is a big problem. And that shows that revenue collection is going to get low. When revenue collection is not there, then we don't have money in the economy.
Dennis Hamson Oboa, the government chief whip, said whatever would be discussed in the meeting would be communicated to the country.
It's a special parliamentary caucus meeting convened on the request of the national chairperson, who is also the President of the Republic of Uganda, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. The matter to be discussed is a matter or are matters of national importance. But after the meeting, I undertake to brief you on what has transpired and the resolution of the caucus.
Parliament has 529 MPs, but NRM has the majority. The file was compiled by Mark Chigundu for CTV PM Edition.
Now, effective Monday next week, police are set to resume operations to arrest all motorists who haven't paid their Express Penalty Scheme tickets that were issued to them by traffic police officers. Police spokesperson Fred Enanga says they intend to recover about 8 billion shillings from the operation.
The Express Penalty Scheme was introduced in 1994. However, they first started enforcing it in 2005. Under the scheme, motorists who would be found on the wrong side of the law would be issued with instant tickets which they would pay in the bank. Speaking to journalists at the police headquarters today, police spokesperson Fred Enanga says the system was introduced to help police manage small traffic offenders. He, however, says some of the offenders still do not respect the scheme.
The offender has or had 28 days within which to pay the ticket, and failure to comply attracts a surcharge of 50% of the prescribed amount. That implies that once the tickets are issued, they should be paid within 28 days of issue, and the fines, depending on the offences, vary from 20,000 up to 200.
According to Enanga, from January to July this year, 22,039 tickets worth 18 billion shillings have been issued, and some money has been recovered, but a lot is still not paid.
It is against this background that we are reminding all traffic penalty defaulters to clear their payments before Monday. We are commencing these operations to crack down on all traffic penalty defaulters. At any stage, for those who think that they can dodge around, at any stage, as a motorist, to purposely recover express penalty scheme areas of about 8 billion shillings that is still out there.
Enanga says they intend to shame offenders via media platforms, including social media and newspapers.
We're going to use cameras to track all EPS defaulters. We're even going to publish the list of EPS defaulters on our websites, in the media, in the print. We are going to widely do that so that people can get to know who these traffic defaulters.
Farida Nampima, the spokesperson, Traffic and Road Safety, highlighted the common traffic offences and their penalties.
Using a vehicle on the road without insurance, that is third-party insurance, the ticket is 40,000. If you're found using a vehicle on the road, when the registration plates are obscured, these people who tend to fold their number plates and tilt them, those people who tend to cover the number plate with a sticker, those people whose number plates are not clear, when the numbers have been rubbed off, it can't be read, those people without number plates, all those, the offense, the fine is 40,000.
She says no defaulter will be left out.
Once you don't pay, it's an auto charge. So if you don't want the surcharge to come on the car, on the ticket, pay the ticket in the right time. So if you have any ticket issued to you and the 28 days have elapsed, don't take that one to the bank. Don't use that one to pay. Just go to the nearby police station and get its replacement.
All money collected from the scheme, according to police, will be wired on the account of Uganda Revenue Authority. He says police is engaging the Ministry of Finance to revert 15% of the money that will be recovered to the Treasurer of Police. Flavian Nkuze for CTV PM Edition.
Now, in a bid to resolve the rampant land conflicts across the country, key stakeholders are devising methods to reduce the associated tension. The Ministry of Lands and Urban Development, together with civil society activists, are behind this idea. We have more.
Over the years, the country has seen a rise in land disputes, including land evictions and wrangles, issues which have left a number of people homeless, while some have died and others injured. Officials from the Ministry of Lands say the situation has been worsened by people's ignorance about their land rights, driving many of them into untold suffering.
And this was selected purposely in consultation with the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development. We'll be holding this still in partnership with other civil society actors to also raise the issues of land rights that are very pertinent in this region, but also those that are affecting the indigenous communities, especially the Batwa.
They aim to work together with local governments to support communities in land rights awareness and food security.
The aim is to strengthen the capacity of farming communities, particularly women, men, youth and persons with disabilities, and other vulnerable groups, especially the indigenous communities. Why we're doing this is for us to raise an awareness on the formal and customary land management aspects, land administration, and also having the involvement of other civil stakeholder actors to ensure we have a collective voice for effective engagement in land governance.
An official from the Ministry of Land says masses need to be made aware about land laws and rights.
Now, the work that we do at these Land Awareness Weeks is to further is to further the process of showing the people it is possible, the benefits are there, you don't have disputes on your land, the land is productive. In case of disputes, you can open boundaries and the actual coordinates got in a scientific way are known. And lastly, is that people now no longer have to use witchcraft, pangas.
At the climax of events, the lands minister will receive a report of petitions arising from the population to help them solve the issues.
Community sensitizations and dialogues on land rights, land laws, and environmental conservation. We shall also be having mobile legal clinics, which provide a platform for the community to interface with lawyers to address and answer quite a number of issues that are affecting them when it comes to land rights and land access.
The campaign is also aimed at promoting environmental conservation through sensitizing the population and other activities like tree planting. Adams Mayambala for CTV PM Edition.
CTV PM Edition takes a short break, but we'll be right back with more stories. Do stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching CTV PM Edition with me, Agi Uwase, and Isaac Luchamzi on sign language. Now, moving on, a U.S. senator who urged President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga to have dialogue after the 2017 presidential election debacle is in Kenya. So far, he has held talks with Mr. Kenyatta, Mr. Odinga, and President-elect William Ruto. Let's take a look.
Among those he met was Congressman Chris Coons, a Democrat from the state of Delaware, who called for dialogue between President Kenyatta and Odinga to end the impasse that followed the election. Coons is leading a U.S. congressional delegation on a 5-country visit to Africa. They arrived in Kenya on Wednesday night to meet with President-elect William Ruto to discuss shared goals, health, security, and economic prosperity. They will also meet President Kenyatta, who has not said anything in public since the 9th of August election, and Odinga, who is planning to challenge his loss in last week's presidential poll.
I haven't talked to Uhuru Kenyatta, our outgoing president, but I am sure there will be a conversation because now I am the president-elect and there has to be a transition.
The delegation also plans to meet with influential leaders from NGOs, health providers, and conservationists.
President and a member of his team. That means welcome. Yes. This might not understand Kiswahili.
The U.S. ambassador to Kenya, Meg Whitman, said in a statement. Organizations working to empower girls, Ms. Whitman said. Ruto and Kenyatta fell out a few years ago and the latter backed Odinga in last week's elections. Odinga has said he is exploring all constitutional and legal options to challenge his close election loss. His campaign has a week from Monday's declaration of Ruto as the winner to go to Supreme Court, which will have 14 days to rule on the matter. On Monday, IEBC chairperson Wafula Chebukati announced Ruto won the election with 7.1 million votes, about 50.5% of the total votes cast. Coons was among those who were lamenting that Kenya's political standoff could worsen if not addressed urgently.
Trusted her to be our ambassador to such an important strategic partner, a nation that has much to teach.
On March 9, 2018, a surprise handshake between President Kenyatta and Odinga took place on the steps of the office of the president in Nairobi, marking the end to an era marked by political animosity and unrest.
On my behalf, Ndugu, I ask for your forgiveness. And I tender my apology.
The two had fought bruising political battles for more than a decade and called each other all manners of expletives. The bitter protagonists shook hands and buried their differences after weeks of secret talks. A month after the October 2017 repeat presidential election, Odinga, then heading the National Super Alliance, traveled to the US for a series of high-stake meetings with members of Congress and Kenyans living in that country.
Heads of health facilities in Busia district say unreliable power supply in Uganda as well as poor working conditions have hindered the provision of health services in Kampala. This was during the commemoration of the International Breastfeeding Week in Busia district. Now, various mothers revealed why it's hard for them to breastfeed their children. Let's take a look.
A sizable number of mothers and residents assembled at Musafu Playgrounds to commemorate the International Breastfeeding Day. On behalf of the Minister of Health, Dr. Jennifer Aching, the Director of Clinical Services in the ministry, Dr. Charles Olal, asked mothers to breastfeed their babies to prevent them from malnutrition diseases that are associated with it.
Vaccine protecting babies from deadly diseases, and at the same time it gives them all the nourishment they need to survive and thrive. Notably, breastfeeding provides unique early bonding experience for the infants and their mothers, thus contributing greatly to the baby's both psychological, emotional, and social development.
Aching called upon employees to provide breastfeeding spaces for mothers at their duty stations.
Supporting breastfeeding involves many actors, as you have heard. Women need support from the healthcare workers, employers, community and family to optimally breastfeed their babies. And for us all who are here as part of the actors, I think there is nobody who is having an objection on that. So we have agreed that we shall support our mothers to breastfeed.
Mothers say much as they have embraced breastfeeding, they have several challenges that hinder them from doing it consistently.
Olusi tutuula ne tumalayo kabanga enjala ng'etulumira omwo abakazi lubanga tunaba kuwosa egundi ebintu by'abaana enjala etuluma bava omwo ng'enjala etuluma bajja mu ssaawa 5 ku ssaawa 4.
Tetulina bintu bye tukozesa ngaffe bamaama otuyonsa abaana oluusi saa zino ebintu birinnye sabuuni tetuzirina ze tukozesa okwoza ebikunta eby'omwana wammwe sukaali tetulina ow'okunywesa abaana.
Busia District Health Officer Matthias Obure asked government to centralize breastfeeding banks to enable health workers in various parts of the country breastfeed abandoned babies.
Who give birth, maybe the girl got pregnant and she was not prepared to take care of that child, and they end up throwing those children. You find them in dustbins, you find them abandoned in hospitals. Now such children, you will want to breastfeed, you will want this child to get breast milk, but the mother is not there. So we are saying, if we have a breast milk bank, and I was telling the audience that so far we have one which is established in Zambia. But in Zambia hospital is very fine in Kampala. Can we have also breast milk banks at the level of the districts, such that these children who are genuinely not able to access breast milk, we can help them through these blood banks.
According to the health experts, mothers are supposed to breastfeed their babies for at least 6 months. He says health service delivery in the same area is still wanting because of the poor state of most of the health centers that lack trained health workers and proper equipment.
We call for the government to support the ambulance services in the district. If the district doesn't have enough numbers of health workers, you'll find that the few cannot attend to the big numbers of mothers. And whenever mothers come with their children and they don't find quality services which meet their needs, the following day they will not come.
Flavia Ninkuze for CTV, PM Edition.
Thank you, Flavia, for that report. Now, in our regional news tonight, in Zimbabwe, inflation jumped from 191% in June to 257% in July, a fast depreciating currency backed by ordinary households into a corner. In addition to that, prolonged water shortages have meant that most Harare residents must source their own water. And in eastern Kenya, a prolonged drought has claimed hundreds of animals and forced many people to nearby countries.
In Zimbabwe, rising prices and a fast depreciating currency have pushed many Zimbabweans to the brink. In addition to that, prolonged water shortages have meant that most residents of Zimbabwe's capital must source their own water. Living conditions continue to worsen. Inflation jumped from 191% in June to 257% in July. Many Zimbabweans fear the country is headed to dark times again, when the Southern African nation faced world record inflation of 5 billion% in 2008. Prosper Chitembara, an economist, says the plight of the ordinary person is such that it is difficult to really survive in this economy, where prices are increasing on a daily basis. To prevent a return of such economic disaster, President Emmerson Mnangagwa's government introduced gold coins as legal tender last month. The country's central bank, the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, say the 22-karat coins would help tame runaway inflation and stabilize the nation's currency. The coins are at an average price of just below $2,000 per coin, depending on the international gold price. Many, such as Carlos, get day by day, let alone earn enough to save. According to the National Drought Management Authority, Kenya is facing an unprecedented severe drought due to the cumulative impacts of 4 consecutive failed rainy seasons. 78-year-old Dabi Ibrahim says he has never seen a severe drought like this in all of his life. He says that for the last 3 years, there has not been a single drop of rain, adding that many houses have been abandoned by owners, leaving behind a few people in the area. The drought has affected livestock, which is the economic lifeline for most residents. Climate shocks have turned upside down the lives of pastoralists. Livestock, one of their key livelihood sectors, has been severely affected. Staple food prices have gone through the roof, while daily wages continue to fall. According to a June report on food security by the National Drought Management Authority, the number of people facing food insecurity in Kenya has increased from the previous 3.5 million to 4.1 million. The Kenyan Red Cross Society and the International Committee of the Red Cross have been distributing relief food and animal feed in 4 drought-affected counties. Drugs and other emergency health supplies distributed by UNICEF and partners reached up to 150,000 people. Hope Nyongereza, CTV PM edition.
CTV PM edition takes a short break, but we'll be right back with stories from the world of sports. Do stay with us.
CTV is now on StarTimes. You can now catch all your favorite programs, our daily comprehensive news bulletins, and so much more on StarTimes channel number 248. Stay tuned for a world of endless possibilities. CTV, don't blink.
Welcome back and thank you so much for staying with us. You're still watching CTV PM edition with me, Agi Owase, and Isaac Luchamzi on sign language. Now the weekend is here, and in the world of football, the English Premier League gets back to the screens. Now this week, 3 of the leagues and several games are lined up. The most exciting fixture is on Monday night when Manchester United takes on Liverpool. Here's a preview of some of the matches.
Walker and Gundogan, and brilliant from